friends, welcome back to my crafty space. In today's video, I am going to complete a couple of different projects using the Kindness Story Stamp for my Stamp Your Story series. So first off, I've got a layout that I'm going to show you, just a really easy, plain, simple layout that I am using to talk about some different values. So being true, being nice, being real, and being kind, and what do all of those things mean to me. For this one, I was sitting in my car one day and I just took a bunch of selfies of myself with a lot of different facial expressions because I knew I wanted to do some kind of collage with black and white pictures. And then I also have a journaling page over here, which I believe is traveler's notebook sized. So it is 4 1/4 wide by 8 1/4 tall. And this will go inside of my album. I'll stick one of these on the side of it, one of the sticker pieces from Citrus Twist in order to put it into my album. And then I'm going to stamp some titles up above the journaling. So this one's going to be super quick and easy. It's titles and an embellishment in the middle. Then once I have my layout done, what we'll do, I'll slow down, I'll read the journaling, and then we'll go into the next part of this video where I'm going to take a single white 12 by 12 cardstock and turn this into 9 journaling cards that I can use for projects like Project Life or to just tell stories. So I'll share this portion of the process once we complete the layout. So let's go ahead and get into this layout. We'll get that going on fast forward. And once I have this done, we'll slow down. I'll read the journaling and then we'll jump into the next part. All right, so jumping into this layout, what I'm going to do is take off 4 of the sentiments from the stamp set that are just 2 words each. So one says be kind, one says be true, one says be nice, and one says be real. And I'm going to use those in a repeated stamping format to create a title for each of my journaling blocks here. So, and I'm also going to alternate that between the teal color and the pink color just to bring a little bit of actual color into my journaling page and help those titles stand out from the rest of the text. So you can kind of see how this is working. I'm just repeating that exact same sentiment in an entire line until it fills the portion above my journaling. And then that is all I'm going to do for the journaling page. I'm keeping it really simple. For the photo section, when I printed my photos, I printed them in a 2x2 grid, leaving one of those spaces blank because I knew I wanted to create some kind of heart sentiment that would be maybe a die cut, or I was going to see if I had an acetate type of heart in my stash, something that I could use to put in the middle of the blank square. And so if I had a photo there, it would have covered the photo up. So there was no sense in putting a photo there. I pulled out this pattern paper from my stash. This is a pattern paper from Vicki Boutin, and I believe it was from the Color Study collection. I could be wrong about that, and I'll try to see if I can figure out the paper here and add that into the links for this video. I turned it over onto the back side and used a white gel pen to help me sketch around the outside of a plastic heart I had in my stash, so that just became a template or a pattern for me to trace. And then I cut that out. And what I'm going to do is take another stamp sentiment from the set here that says, it says what does it say? Something of the heart, the heart of being alive. That's what it says. And which is hence why I wanted this to be stamped into a heart, because that just felt like it was right. So I inked that up and stamped it right into the middle of the heart, letting a bit of the stamping overlap with the edges. And I like the way that looks. To attach it onto my photo, I'm using my tiny attacher and stapling it on the 2 edges. And then I'm going to call that side, for the most part, done. I'm actually going to add my date stamping onto the photo side as well. Then I'm taking one of the plastic attacher pieces from Citrus Twist and adding that to the side of my journaling. So that's going to allow me to put that piece into my album. And then I'm just going to add the date on the side of the heart and call this one done. Okay, friends, so here is the layout. So see what I mean? That was really simple, just a heart cut out of pattern paper, stamp a sentiment on it to make that into an embellishment, and then added my journaling titles using the smaller sentiments on the stamp set. So really quick, here is my journaling for this one. I said for this, be true, be true, be true. What does it mean to be true to who I am? I think sometimes it's hard to know who we truly are and what we truly want. The world loves to tell us who we should be and what should be true of us. But should we listen? Or do we listen to what's inside? That voice saying it's okay to have opinions. It's okay to not know what's next. It's okay to try and control. It's okay to be quiet and to be loud. It's okay to say no. It's okay to rest. Be nice. Throughout the last few years of parenting kids growing up in the pandemic, I have had to take a hard look at myself and the ways that I react. I am learning to breathe before I speak and try to understand rather than assume the worst. It can be really hard to be nice, especially when the days are long and life is demanding. But it is so important to evaluate our responses and come from a place of compassion as often as possible. Be real. Honesty has always been a high virtue for me, even when being honest is hard. I've always been an oversharer because of this. It is important to me to be real and be me. I don't want to present myself as having a perfect life, but I do want to make it known that I love my imperfect life. I want my children to see that I loved and lived and struggled and persevered and celebrated. I want them to know that an imperfect life is a good life. Being kind, or be kind. Being kind is the single most important thing in our family. I believe that if we can live a life of being kind to ourselves and others, then we will live the best kind of life there is. Giving the gift of kindness to others is giving the gift of life. It breathes confidence, exudes support, fosters friendship, bolsters understanding, and expresses love. If we are nothing else, I hope our family is and will always be known for kindness. Okay, so that is the layout. So this is going to go inside of a story album. This will go in a 6x8 page protector. This will go outside of the page protector, and something else will go on the back eventually of that. So let's set this to the side, and then let's pull over the paper here and cut this up into journaling cards. So I'm going to take this 12x12 white cardstock page, and I'm going to cut this into 3 6x4 cards. So let's do that first. So we'll cut that in half, and then I want 6x4. And there we go. So there's 3 of those. And then this one is going to be 3x4s. So I'll cut this into the 4s, and then let's just put them all together and cut that into a 3 for a 3x4. Okay. Okay. So that is how we're going to start this. Now, I probably won't actually use up all the white ones, so I'll have some blank ones for another time. I'm going to go pull up my template on the computer so I can remember what everything's supposed to look like. Okay, so let's start with the 6x4s. The first one, I wanted to take this circle stamp that says you can never go wrong with being kind, and I want to create 4 sections for journaling out of that. Now, that means that each section is going to be 1.5 inches, right? Because 1.5 would be 3. Yes, so they'll be 1.5 inches each. So I'm going to use my pencil here, and go to where I can see the dots. There we go. So we're going to go 1.5, and then 3, and then 4.5 to there. And I suppose I should do that on the bottom as well. I probably could have just used my ruler, but that's okay. And there we go. Okay, so then the top section, I also want to be 1.5 inches down because I want the top to be a square. So we'll make our marks. Okay, so then you can either, in order to draw your lines here, you can draw them with a pen, which is what I'm going to do this time, or you can also stitch them. And if if I use this card someday and I'm like, meh, I want more texture, I can always stitch it later too. But for time's sake, I am going to just draw this. Plus, it'll make it easier for me to put it through my printer if I want to print my text on it down the line as well. So I could always print my text and then stitch the lines after that. Do that. And then one more. Okay. So that's going to give me my 4 sections. And then this one is going to use the circle up at the top. So we'll set that to the side for now. And we'll stamp everything here in a little bit. The next one, I want to stamp out a couple of titles, but I actually want to put some pattern up at the top. So that's what I had pulled this for. I actually pulled out a couple of different. This is one that I had jelly plate printed in the past. I actually kind of like that. Let's do it. Why not, right? So for this one, I want this to be 6 inches wide by 1 inch. I guess we'll do 1.5 inches down again. I suppose if that's too much, I can always reduce back later. Okay, so I want this to all have the painted part on it. Okay. So this will go at the top. I think 1.5 inches was good. That will go at the top. And then I'm going to put this Kindness Matters title here with a Be Kind to Yourself subtitle underneath. So that will be that one. And then the last card here, I'm actually going to divide in half. So we'll go 2 inches and 2 inches. I probably could have just put my ruler here and draw. Okay, actually I want to draw this with a black line. Again, I can go back and I can eventually go back and stitch over it if I want later. Okay. Okay, so we've got a line in the middle. And then this one, I'm going to do kindness is magic and kindness counts as kind of 2 jumping off points for journaling. Okay, so that's going to be that. Next, let's do one where we've got, I want to do 1 inch at the top. So this is a 3x4 card, the first one. I want to do 1 inch or 1.25 inches. Maybe I'll do 1.25 inches. Because this one I want to do stories of kindness and my heart is so full as a subtitle. So I'm going to change my mind and go 1.5 inches instead of 1.25 inches. Okay, so all right, so 1.5 inches would be here. Okay, so this one I'm going to draw a nice thick line. Okay, and that's going to be these pieces. Okay, then I want to do another one where I'm going to do this one that says the only way to be across the top here. Now, that is going to go down to about 1.25 inches. So the rest of this process I'm actually going to put on fast forward and voice over the top of it right as I was in the middle of filming this video and doing it in real time. Jonah started throwing a tantrum over video games, and so in order for you guys to not have to listen to that, I went ahead and decided I would just voice this over the rest of it. So what I'm doing for this card here is I took a piece of washi tape and I masked off the top portion of the journaling card, and that is going to give me an area where I can add some repeat stamping into the top to create a title. And then I also took the 4 sentiments I used in my layout earlier and I set those aside to add as journaling prompts onto the 3x4 card. With that one set aside, I then grabbed over the jelly printed page here and I cut this into a couple of different pieces. So earlier I had the piece where I did what's going to become the top of a 4x6 journaling card. Then I cut out a 3x4 that I'm going to use as a filler card. And I also cut out another 3x4 that I ended up dividing in half. So that gave me 2 sections sized at 3 inches by 2 inches, and those I'm going to add a sentiment to and make them titles for a 3x4 card, which you'll see here in just a little bit. For this next one, I'm going to use the sentiment kindness, and then underneath that, I think it says something like the only way to be, or this story of kindness made my heart happy, or it's some kind of subtitle there. So I'm going to layer those 2 together, and I wanted to create a line of separation that would go between the title and where I'm going to add the journaling. For that one though, I did not have the line go all the way side to side. I just had it in the middle portion of the card. So now we're going to get into the stamping now that I have all of the lines and sections created on the canvases, right? So the first one I'm doing here is the heart sentiment that says random act of kindness. I stamped that into the 2 sections that I cut out earlier, sized at 2 inches by 3 inches. Then I'm taking the full size 3x4 card and I'm going to stamp the sentiment from earlier in my layout that says the heart of being alive. I'm stamping that directly into the middle of the 3x4 patterned card to create a filler card. For this one, I'm taking the section, again, this is the jelly printed portion that is sized 6 inches by 1.5 inches, and I am stamping kindness. What does it say? Kindness matters, or kindness story of kind? I think it's kindness matters is what it says. And underneath that, I'm going to put this sentiment that says, be kind to yourself. So that's going to be a title piece for a 6x4 card, which we'll finish up putting those together here in just a second. Now, I do want to mention that I am using my StazOn ink because I'm stamping on top of acrylic painting. I wanted to use an ink that was going to be very permanent, very like sticky almost, so that it would stick down on top of the textured surface and then stay there as it dries. So because I decided to use StazOn, or I needed really to use StazOn on those pieces, I am also going to continue that and use my StazOn as my black ink for all of the rest of my sentiments as well. That way, everything looks the same. All of the black colors are the same across all the cards. So this one right here that says kindness, this is the one where the line does not go quite end to end. It's more in the middle section. I stamped the word kindness using my Ali Edwards Tillamook orange ink and then did the subtitle in black underneath. I went into my stash to find a number stamp that had smaller numbers so I could stamp out 1 through 5, and that's going to give me almost a bulleted type of journaling page or journaling card that I can add into Project Life and just add some snippets of story. I love cards like that. I feel like those are really easy to use in order to tell some of those smaller stories. So before I move on to the next sections or the next cards, I'm going to go ahead and adhere down all of these title pieces from the jelly printed page. So I have the 2 with the random acts of kindness hearts. Those are going on top of 3x4 cards. And then this section here is the one that will go on top of the 6x4 journaling card. And we'll set those aside, and those ones are now done. Next, we're going to move on to this divided 6x4 card. For this one, I'm using the Kindness is Magic and Kindness Counts as titles in the upper left-hand corner of the 2 sections. So this is going to give me a larger area where I can add some journaling in. So these can be a little bit longer stories than, say, the 1 through 5 bulleted journaling card. And I also like that there's a bit of simplicity there in just having them be black and white. I can print my text in there. I can add photos into there. There's all different kinds of things I can do to dress those up. For this one, I've got a card or a sentiment that says stories of kindness. And for this one, I decided to switch it up and to actually stamp this in my Ali Edwards Deschutes, which is like a dark blue color. I decided to do the blue to help bring in a little bit of the blues from the jelly printed pages and to create some cohesion with the blue tones in some of my other cards. So I have that, and then the subtitle I did in the StazOn ink again. For this card, we created the 4 sections at the top where I want to stamp the circle. And to make this one really fun, I thought I would vary my inks. So I did the Deschutes blue, and then I did Honeyman yellow, then the Tillamook orange, and then Otter Rock gray. So that gave me some variability in my colors, and it's going to help tie all of the colors together that I'm using today in all of these different cards. For this next one, I'm using a stamp set that says The Only Way to Be, and this is the one that I had earlier masked off with washi tape, and I did that so I could stamp the sentiment like this and not worry about the bottom line being uneven. When I peel away the washi tape, you're going to see a really straight, defined line there at the bottom. For the title, I stamped that in the Honeyman ink, trying to bring in a little bit more of those colors and having them take up more real estate on the cards themselves. And then I took the 4 different sentiments here, and I'm going to stamp them as evenly as possible down the left side of the card. And now those are going to act as prompts, or again, almost bullet pointed types of journaling sections for that card later. This last one is going to be another filler card that I'm creating with a repeated stamped sentiment. This one just says be kind over and over and over again. I decided to do half of it with the Tillamook orange, and then I'm doing the other half with the Honeyman yellow, just to bring in more of those colors and to make this almost like a patterned paper card. I thought that that would be a really fun touch to add into the mix with all the other cards that have more room for journaling. Okay, so now I'm going to bring everything back over and set them out so you can see what all of these cards will look like when they are in a set together. I think that these turn out so awesome. And while I could break them apart and use them in any layout, I actually really like them all combined as well. All right, friends, there we go. So we've got a total of actually 10 cards because I made 2 of this one, but 9 different styles, different designs for journaling cards. And what I love about using a stamp set like this to come up with various different sentiments and jumping off points and filler cards and all that kind of stuff. What I love about this is that I can dictate what colors I want to use. I can now take all of these cards and make a cohesive page out of it inside of Project Life. I can pull different supplies out of my stash in order to combine with this to create a kit to work within. It just is a really great way to create additional content, but almost not content, create additional product, but product that is done in a kit style because everything goes together and the theme of the whole week will go together. So really excited to add this to my stash. I actually might just put this into one of my project packets and use it for a week of Project Life when I don't have a kit to use. That would be a great way to use these up. So really fun, super enjoyed putting this together, and this is definitely something that I would like to do in the months moving forward, is to show you some different ideas for how to take the stamp set and turn it into pieces that you can use inside of your pocket page scrapbooking layouts. All right, so I am going to take a picture of all of the cards that I made today in addition to the layout, and I will include an image of this in the post. So if this is something that you want to do, if you want to take the same stamp set and create a kit of journaling cards for yourself, then you can use that photo as reference to get some different ideas for how to use those stamps to create very usable journaling cards. So you can look for that in the post that goes with today's video. All right, friends, let me know what you thought about this. Let me know if you enjoy seeing the actual journaling cards come together in addition to the layouts, because I know if it's helpful for you, it's something that I definitely want to keep doing and sharing with you. All right, so I'm going to be back again on Friday this week with a Fridays with Friends episode, and again next Friday with another Fridays with Friends episode. But do keep in mind that Monday and Wednesday next week, there will not be any new content available. It's just the 2 story kits that we just did in the past 2 weeks, and then this week was our Stamp Your Story series. So next week we have a little bit of a reprieve, and then I'm coming back after that to jump back into the Story Kit Crush layouts yet again. So hopefully I'll see you here Friday. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.